if you're a beautiful, smart, confident woman, but you still have people treating you like a detail in your own life, and you don't even know what to improve in yourself anymore just to be valued and seen as you know that you deserve, then I know that this video will change your life, because realizing these things changed my life. I've been struggling with my self-esteem for years because I was seeing my worth but nobody else was seeing it, and at the same time I would see these women that were basically a pain in the ass get exactly what I wanted from the people that I wanted it from, putting zero effort while I was being caring, sweet, cool, funny, entertaining to everyone. And then it clicked. These women that I considered a pain in the ass for others were women that actually were difficult. Women that would not respect mediocrity, that would not comfort mediocrity, and that always expected the best for themselves. Therefore, people had to improve just to be around them. Meantime, I was the cool girl that was fun, entertaining, would make people feel way too comfortable around her, and somehow being this low maintenance made me into the Timo version of these other women in these people's eyes. And then I changed the script and I became a little bit of a pain in the ass. A little bit. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to be the right amount of pain in the ass for people to overthink you, to tiptoe around you, and to prioritize you. Not to treat you like some background detail that they're gonna make up to later. Okay? Let's get right into it. First thing I want you to understand is that if you're a cool girl that shows people that you don't take things too seriously, they will stop taking you seriously altogether, no matter how beautiful, classy, funny you are. If you're okay with everything and you always go with the flow, you give people the chance to set the rules for interactions every single time. So your interactions become basically satisfying their wants and needs. Even if you're not people pleasing them, you don't have the space to live by your own wants and needs, your own standards, boundaries. You just end up jumping from the wants of someone to the wants and needs of someone else. Difficult women don't go with the flow. They have their internal compass, they have their internal rules, and they will only act if what you want them to do aligns with that. And there is no such a thing like FOMO. We don't fear missing out on anything. Only thing we fear missing out on is our time, our energy, and our sleep. That's it. If you do the mistake of training people to know that you go with the flow, they will always assume that you will be okay with everything. So one day they decide to change the plans and they will think about you, oh, she's chill, no need to ask her, no need to tell her until it's last minute. Anyways, she will drive us there or there, doesn't really matter, she's chill. They will start canceling on you when you're basically already ready to go, and they will say, oh, something came up. Yeah, something better came up for them to go somewhere else, because they know that if they do this thing to the other difficult girl, she will literally ghost them and they will never hear from her again. But if they tell you that something came up, then you'll be, okay, don't worry, I hope everything is okay. You basically become an asset. Okay? You become an asset for your friends, for men, for your co-workers, if you don't live by your own internal set of rules. So please stop being proud of how much disrespect you can tolerate without making a scene. Make the damn scene. Even if they think that you are crazy, okay, I'd rather be called crazy rather than making comfortable, lazy people in disrespecting me. But let's talk about men for a second, because you need to stop being understanding to lazy men. Who benefits more from cool girls? Lazy men that want premium treatment for free trial efforts. And I don't care if this is your husband, I don't care if this is your talking stage of 3 days, your boyfriend, your crush. You need to stop making excuses for behaviors that don't come by mistake. The reason he makes excuses constantly is because he knows that you can't wait to hear them. And you're sitting there waiting for him to finally confirm your hopes with his excuse. You prefer him saying, I'm not a good texter, just because like this you can ignore the fact that when he's with you, he's always using the phone, but when he is not there, he is never using the phone for you. But you want to keep ignoring this. So he doesn't even have to put much effort in excuses because you already make excuses for yourself, and he only has to confirm them. And so you keep accepting less and less, giving more and more, and they take it all without any shame. Now think about his fantasy woman, the ex that he never got over or that crush he had. That woman was doing next to zero. She was a bitch. She was constantly unsatisfied. But why they never get over them? That's because they're not bitches. That is just how men describe the complex psyche of a woman that is difficult to please, that is not okay with mediocrity. And she makes it more uncomfortable for people to disappoint her rather than acting right. I will give you my why versus what rule. Because a difficult woman doesn't react to why someone did something, she reacts to what they did very strictly. She is not understanding, and every action has a consequence. And she reacts to facts, not to vibes. And this is what makes a woman difficult to manipulate and difficult to extract from. She doesn't give more than she receives, and she always reacts to facts. When a cool girl gets disappointed, she tries to act cool, to stay nice to people and to kind of comfort them about their excuse, about whatever happened to them in order to have to disrespect her. But a woman that knows her worth and is okay with being difficult, she will not comfort you about your excuse. She will only react to the fact that you wasted her time and her energy. Wherever you wasted, she will react to that. If you arrive 2 hours late because your car broke, she will not console you about the car. She will hold you accountable for wasting her time. And I know that it sounds rude, but listen to me. People have a book of excuses for everyone. Sometimes they do something wrong first and they already know the excuse that they're gonna put to you. If you show them that that excuse doesn't undo your resentment, the next time they will invest more time into doing things right, not into creating an excuse. But then let's go back to the fact of why they always pedestalize and never get over completely of the bitch, the chronically unsatisfied woman. Because human psychology makes us value what we have to work hard for. And when a woman is consistently unsatisfied, she forces the environment around her to level up just in order to hold her attention. Her standards become the reference point for the room because lazy people, when they see her, they feel inadequate. And to protect their ego, yes, they will think she's a bitch, but at the same time, they respect her because she's the one that is holding the frame. Everyone is in her frame. She's not adapting to some mediocre person's frame just because she assumes that this is what they're capable of. And then when there is a cool girl next to this woman, they take her for granted because everything is fine for her. Hee ha ha, everything is hilarious, everything is easy, and they have to put zero effort to satisfy her. Therefore, without effort, there is no investment. And what is left? You as a tool. You become a utility for these people. They can extract from you until they get bored, they don't want to extract anymore, and they let you go. They ghost you. And then we are left wondering, why is that this woman is a bitch, but everyone is tiptoeing around her? I remember this woman at the job that I had, that she was always pedestalized by everyone. She was the boss. And she was so soft and tough at the same time. She would give her approval to very small amount of people, and to those people she would be very kind and sweet. But to most people she was just detached and polite. You could tell that in order to get even a slight bit of her attention, you had to level the F up. She would never hide a face expression, and she would never comfort anybody about their own mediocrity. So everyone was always tiptoeing around her to try to get even a slight bit of her approval. As you can see, this kind of woman pushed other people to act better, to behave better. So the environment around her was completely shifting towards better when she was there. When this happens and someone improves because of you, they end up associating you with their improvement. So even though you didn't do anything for them, they see you as someone that inspired them to be better. So they always think about you when they think about their best version. And this is how you become truly memorable. Not by forcing people to be better, by helping them, going after them, babysitting them, which is what the cool girl does, and then ends up being seen as a utility. Like we said, difficult women make people want to act better, look better, and just to stand out in front of her. But in order for this to happen, you have to let go of this idea of being a hot mess. You have to look like you have your life together, even if you don't. Being a hot mess is not cool. This gives permission to people to bring more mess to your life, to be a mess with you, and to live their mess around you in general. For that, the first step is being incredibly taken care of. And before someone comes here and tells me, but I'm not beautiful, I see your pictures and you guys have unreal raw potential. I can see you, I hope you also can see you, but the thing is that I realized something. When you say someone is beautiful or someone is not beautiful, what you see is how much that woman is taking care of herself in private, how much time she is actually spending on herself. There are some women that think, anyways, I'm not beautiful, and they put zero effort in themselves. And then there are other women that they just can't fit into their mind the idea of not being beautiful. My grandma, let's say my grandma, she's 80 years old. No matter how she's feeling, no matter what is happening the day, she wakes up, she puts the effort into her appearance. She goes for a walk, she does her Pilates, she puts her lipstick, and she puts a nice outfit. Every single day this woman looks good. Even when she was young, people would always respect her because she was always looking put together and taken care of. And no matter what is your starting point, there is an incredible difference between a woman that takes care of herself and that doesn't. Because even a slight dehydration or too much sodium can completely change how a face looks. A little haircut that makes your hair look put together or making your skin barrier healthier changes completely the appearance of a person. So maybe what you mean is that you don't look straight out of Vogue right now, okay, but that level of beauty is a lot of commitment. That's a commitment that you take to look the closest possible to your full potential every day. Leave alone my grandma. When you see a celebrity looking like a goddess or a god for their whole life, and then at some point they just decide to let go of themselves, in 1 year they can change from this to this. So these women that when you see and say, wow, she's gorgeous, she's breathtaking, these women, they wake up every single day and they put effort into their appearance. People literally, when they don't do it, they don't realize it and they think someone is born like that. But do you realize what it is like eating constantly in a little bit of a calorie deficit, choosing foods that are good for your skin, for your body, going for a walk consistently, doing your brows almost every 2 days, doing every single hair wash that takes 2 hours in order to put all the products right, let them see them right, massaging your scalp. All of these things, skincare, hair care, literally hours of the day, hours. This is a commitment. This doesn't happen by mistake. And I'm also telling you that even, let's say, if you don't look good, the most average features can look incredibly striking with the right grooming, but the best features can become absolutely invisible with no of wrong grooming. Especially after you cross 20 years old, everything you do, your lifestyle, everything is so visible into your physical body. This is a topic for another video, but the thing is that I want you to understand that if you want to have power as a woman, you need to look taken care of and to actually invest time in yourself. Let them tell you that you are overdressed, but never that you are neglected. And also ignore all these people talking about pretty girl setbacks, how it's so terrible to be pretty because nobody takes you seriously, this and that. I've been on both sides, okay? And people don't take you seriously also when you look neglected. Looking neglected has far more problems than looking good. You'd rather be dealing with jealousy of women because you look good, rather than never being taken seriously because you look like you don't take yourself seriously. But then there is another mistake that not even pretty privilege can save you from, and that is being friendly. I want you to understand that friendliness is a reward. It's not your default setting, and it's not an unlimited resource. There is a big difference between being friendly and being polite. Understand that friendliness is access that you give to someone. Kindness is just mannerism. It just means that you were raised well. But if you constantly give this access to everyone, no one has to put any effort to get it or to maintain it. And this is typical cool girl behavior. She is friendly to everyone. Being kind to the taxi driver, for example, is you get in and you say hi. You get out and you say thank you and goodbye. But being friendly, that means that you listen to everything that they want to talk about. You take every conversation where they want to. You talk about your private life. You maybe want to listen to your music, but instead you listen to what they did in Greece in 2014 with their friends. And you don't care about that at all, but you sit there because you feel this pressure to be friendly. Next thing you know, this person says something disrespectful to you or feels entitled to ask you a question that is completely inappropriate, and you don't know how is this even possible. How did they even found the confidence to ask you that? Well, because you chose to listen to everything that they decided to dump on you. This used to happen to me all the time, and I would make literally any job interaction or social interaction into an opportunity to have a friendly conversation. And honestly, it got me the worst kind of treatments, the worst kind of feedbacks. And I was always wondering, why is that these women that are so difficult to talk with and that they are so silent, they get people to do everything for them, to literally kiss the ground where they walk. And then it clicked because these women, their access costs a lot of effort, and people, without even realizing it, they constantly put energy into getting a little bit of that friendliness, a little bit of their approval. And when they give this much, what these people feel is this much. But when you give this much, what they feel is this much, because this much is how much they had to work for it. And like I told you, that woman at the job, she was kind to everyone, but friendly to very few people. And somehow people around her were always trying to get a little bit of that friendliness from her. Another thing that makes you invisible is being too helpful. We are conditioned to think that being helpful makes us indispensable, but being helpful, too helpful, makes you invisible. Why? Because you become the infrastructure. And trust me, nobody goes into a beautiful building and asks, "Hi, can you call the plumber that I will say thanks to them because there is running water?" No, people enter the building, they expect everything to be already there, they open the tap and expect water to come flowing and to wash their hands. Nobody cares about the plumber, nobody sees that work. And if you're always the person that gives the drives, calls everyone, organizes everything, people end up not even seeing that effort anymore. They just expect it to be done. And what does this mean? This means that you get completely dehumanized. You are not a person anymore, you become a utility. And utilities are not appreciated, they are only noticed when they stop working. And even then, people just get annoyed. They expect you to do everything by default. But this is not what a difficult woman does. A difficult woman is the luxury experience of the building. She expects people to come having already their life together and experience her presence as the luxury. Another thing I changed completely was becoming absolutely blunt. I don't try to over-explain to people what they did, what they didn't with the perfect words. I never try to look for the perfect words. I literally skip completely the translation process, the cool girl translation process. And I used to be the kind of girl that would write the message on notes, then pass it through ChatGPT, asking it how to make it sound more this, more that, for this person to understand this instead of that, making sure everything was always perfectly understandable for the person to not be offended. And you know what I used to get in return? People literally reading it in 2 seconds and replying, "okay," just to get rid of my discomfort. Yes, this is what you get when you always try to not offend people's mediocrity. If people are mediocre and you think it, you can say it. Free yourself from all this translation process, because every time that you use overly soft language and you try to be cool enough for these people to not get offended, you are communicating them weakness. They're not seeing a boundary, they're seeing weakness. They don't think about what bothers you, they think about how much far they can push you before you say something else and how they can manipulate your reaction after you say it. Now, think about that woman in your life that you always think, oh my god, what she's gonna say now? Oh my god, what she's gonna think now? She says everything. She says to you exactly what she means, exactly what she thinks, and she has no fear of your reaction. And what is the result? You do everything right around her. You are gonna prioritize in your mind what she's gonna think over what someone else that anyways will give you apologies for thinking something bad will think. You will always prioritize her feelings, what she will see, how she will react, because her reaction has an impact. I see people literally apologizing because someone else is late and they're like, sorry, it's that I just had to do this thing and now I couldn't do it because you were late. No, they came late. They should be the ones apologizing, not you wondering how to make them feel comfortable about being late. If someone thinks that you are cold just because you are not apologetic and because you say exactly what you think, that is entirely their problem. And stop always calculating how people will react to your truth. Whatever you think, whatever you feel, say it exactly how it comes. Another thing that puts you in the background of your own life really fast is constantly narrating your actions, what you're doing, why you're doing it, tracking yourself almost like you need to give subtitles to your own life. The moment you feel the need to narrate your choices, explain why you're doing something, where you're going, all these small details, you are basically acting like a child that is trying to not get grounded. You constantly ask for the approval of the person, constantly, even for small actions like going to the washroom or retouching your makeup. For example, I used to always say, oh, I'm sweating so much, I need to touch up this and that in my makeup, instead of just taking the makeup bag, opening it, and doing whatever I had to do. But I always thought people will think that I'm vain, people will start thinking this and that, even for small things like this. This is the kind of behavior that cool girls have a lot. And even, for example, they start talking to someone and they constantly update them with what they're doing, where they're going, who is there, when this person didn't even ask. Why are you treating everyone like they're the director of your own life and you are the actor there waiting for the approval before acting? A difficult woman doesn't give subtitles to her life. She lets people experience her presence and her next move without any announcement. And if people ask questions, she answers with something vague. Because we love our privacy, we love having our own pace, and we don't like to give explanation to anybody. And yes, many times people get irritated by this, but this again is none of our business. When you constantly explain to people what you're doing, you're basically begging them to validate your choices. And this basically tells them that they have access to you 100% of the time. But why is that? Did they save your life? Are they paying your mother's bills? Why are you teaching them that you're afraid of them assuming something, of them thinking something about you that is not correct, or sitting there with their thoughts, missing you? You know, one of the reasons why difficult women always win is also because they don't try to be mysterious. They understand that being mysterious is just the byproduct of living their life unapologetically. Next, be okay with acting in your best interest and people noticing it. Stop advertising yourself as this girl that is harmless, that only wants the best for everybody else, and she doesn't really care about herself, because people will not hesitate 1 second before treating you the same exact way, before not caring about you either. At this point, you're basically telling them, Please treat me like a detail in my own life. We've been always conditioned to think that it's very bad to be selfish. And so I know that it's very natural to think that if we are selfless and we show people that we have a big heart, then they will somehow give us a prize for that. But the only prize we're gonna get from that is being walked over. In the real world, what you call a big heart usually is people seeing that you don't care about yourself. So you're setting already your market value to zero. This gives them the permission to walk over you without even feeling guilty. Look around and see the people that you interact with. Your boss, your boyfriend, his friends, your family. Everybody is acting from their best interests. Everybody is seeing the world, their choices through the lens of their own ego, their wants and needs, and they always are doing something to get something in return. Nobody does something just for charity, okay? So why is that if everyone is playing to win, you are playing to let everybody else win? People constantly move towards their best interest, even when you don't realize it. Even that person that loves you so much, they are with you because they love you, because they feel some way about you, and your presence makes their life better. But if one day they woke up and they didn't feel anything about you, do you think they would behave exactly the same way and be always around you and this and that just because you're breathing? Even the most selfless act is coming from a place where someone is earning something for doing it. A difficult woman has no problem acting in her best interest and people realizing it. She doesn't need people to remember her as harmless, and she's not mean, she is simply not a walking charity. And if she has to sacrifice her sleep, her energy, and everything about her resources for someone to feel comfortable, she will say no. She will say, "Are you crazy? Like, why would you do this?" I understand maybe sometimes it's like your loved ones, they really need you, you have to put certain effort in your relationships, but this should not be your default. Your default cannot be always giving the best to someone else and you eating crumbs, because this is how you train people to treat you. After 18 years old, everybody is responsible for themselves. So please stop trying to always be the sweetest girl in the room, because I've been there, I've done that, and there is no prize for it. Unless you want a surprise to be walked over and to always finish last. A last thing but not less important is stop micromanaging people's emotions. If you're the type of woman that is always asking people, "Are you okay? Are you angry? What happened? Why are you like this?" Stop doing that. You're basically telling them that if they change a little bit the temperature of their behavior, you will start going after them. Therefore, people learn that they can use this to manipulate you. You're basically begging them to dump their bad mood, their passive aggression on you. Why do you want to be an emotional trash can? Why? You didn't do anything wrong. You know it very well that you didn't do anything to them. Why do you want to be their emotional trash can? A difficult woman is comfortable with people being in a bad mood, with people being a little bit silent, and she makes people feel comfortable also with being silent, because people don't always want to output. People want to rest their social battery sometimes, and honestly, this is one of the reasons, again, why difficult women win, because they allow people to rest in her presence. I always say this in my videos, but this is extremely important, to allow people to rest around you. And if in case they are in a bad mood or whatever, you wait for their words. If they don't communicate their feelings, it's like their feelings are not even there. And in case someone just can't self-regulate and they decide to have this shitty behavior around you, understand that it's not your problem to regulate their emotions. Being a woman, regulating your own emotions is already one of the hardest jobs we have to deal with every single day, because our emotions are constantly like this, unstable by our hormones, by all the things that happen in our bodies. Why do I have to also regulate everybody else around me, micromanage everybody's emotions? This is not your job. Stop teaching people that they can use their emotions to control you. Stop teaching them that if one day they are on a bad mood, then you will be after them the whole time, trying to understand what is going on with them and trying to fix them, letting go all of your energy for someone that doesn't even put the energy to tell you what is wrong. You see how ridiculous is that? But most important thing, just before leaving, I need to tell you, I don't want you to mess up this and start being difficult just when you get till here and you reach a breaking point, and then you become difficult just to bother the other person, just to piss them off a bit and make them behave better. No, this behavior cannot come from punishment. It has to be your self-esteem, your self-love speaking. Otherwise, it comes across as weak and passive-aggressive, and we don't want to be this kind of woman. Many women end up in this cycle where they are extremely nice, extremely cool, and then they get saturated of this and they become distant and difficult. And then when things settle a bit, they go there again and then again, and people just get confused. They don't know how to treat you, so they just treat you even worse because they think that you are manipulative and passive aggressive. That's why I wanted to do this, because you know your worth, because you know that you are not a detail in your own life and you are your damn main character. You are as important as other people, if not even more, actually even more, because it's your life, it's your time, it's your energies, so you matter. You are your own priority. And I wanted to live with this. Anyways, that's it for today. I've been less active because I'm preparing other things for you. I want to start a proper TikTok and Instagram account for us, for the people of this community, and to connect deeper, to talk to you more often. And I'm also preparing for you some material that I want to offer for you, more help, more in-depth help for exactly what you're going through. And most of the things I can't just talk on these videos because they get either banned by YouTube or they get too long. So I will give you more and more resources, and I will connect with you more and more deeper over the next few months, which I'm super excited about. When I will have these things ready, I will link them down even in this video. So if you find it later, you can find the other platforms as well. But otherwise, I will keep you updated every video. And thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. And see you next time.